Me in the club, keep bottles of the rose around me. Act up and you get a couple holes around me. Ooh, still keep that thing on me. Click clack, still keep that bang on me. Ha, and I'ma keep my chain on me. You niggas won't take a thing off me. Ha, and the party goes on. Fuck it, I sleep when I'm gone.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know, where you're going to be looking at a house that has already become a reviewer favorite, and one that is quickly becoming a favorite of mine as well, and the house is Xerjoff from Italy. Now, I haven't really been able to get my nose on a ton of scents from this house. It's not distributed well in New York. It's been dropped from Min. Oswald only carries the Join the Club line. There are two retailers in California, or at least on the West Coast, that do carry Xerjoff, Parfum Raffi, and Lucky Scent. So I had to purchase some samples, which I did do. I requested some samples from Xerjoff, but unfortunately they didn't get back to me, and I really wanted to check their fragrances out, mainly Richwood, which is an almost $700 sandalwood scent, 1861, a gorgeous mint and citrus scent, and then some stuff from their Shooting Star line, Neo, Kobe, and Uden. They also have an Oud Stars line, a Join the Club line, a Casimirati line, a quite pricey XJ1717 line, and a sister line called Suspiro, which has some very popular scents in it as well. But today we're focusing on Uden from the Shooting Stars line. First off, I want to say you should expect to see a lot more of this house on the show. I've just been blown away by Xerjoff. And secondly, it's a pretty expensive house. There's really nothing under $240 about. And most of the fragrances are between $300 and $400, though they do go up to about $800. So I'm advising you guys, please sample before you buy. Xerjoff is a bit of a mysterious house. Not quite Nasamado mysterious, but you've got to dig a little bit to find out about it. It was started by a gentleman named Sergio Momo from Turin, Italy. He became a world traveler as a boy, following his father around business endeavors. He eventually went to art and design school and moved to the UK to do advertising and media work, but he always was attracted to luxury brands, both in fashion and fragrance. And in 2004, he dropped everything he was doing in London and moved to Italy with the goal of starting a luxury fragrance house. And he collaborated with a man named Dominique Salvo, who serves as the brand's research and development director. And now Xerjoff is made up of 15 people that strive to make the best fragrances in the world. Here's a quote from Sergio Momo. Quote, "Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives." End quote. Now, to me, that's something Steve Jobs would have said, so I have a lot of respect for Sergio Momo. Now, their Shooting Stars line, which Uden is from, was actually inspired by a meteorite that left a beautiful glowing trail in the sky in Siberia in 1947. So I was going to make my first Xerjoff purchase 1861, which is the cheapest fragrance in the line at $235. But Eau de Italy has a fragrance that smells very similar called Acqua Decima for $100 less. And side by side, they smell pretty close to each other. They only start to really differ in their dry down. So I decided to not go with that one. I decided to narrow my choices between Uden, Neo, or Kobe. And eventually I will own all three. But for various reasons, I went with Uden first. Now, the 50 ml of this is $260. The 100 ml is $350. I got a 50 ml. I ordered it off Lucky Scent. My plan is to get a new one from each line, and a new one from each of their lines each time I get one. So like next go around, I'll get something from the Oud Stars line, then the Casimirati line, then the Suspiro line, etc. I'd love to own all of them, but that seems like a lifetime goal rather than something to be achieved in the immediate future. So let's talk about Uden. But quickly before I say that, let me just say that with Lucky Scent, you get a certain amount of samples depending on how much you spend. I was able to request 5. I got 1270 by Frapam, Queer Garamente by Parfum MDCI, Richwood by Xerjoff, Fusion Sacri for him by Majda Bakali, and White Gardenia Petals for a woman that I'm dating. And I'll talk more about those on a different episode. I'll probably do a sample shopping episode on these scents that I'm talking about. Xerjoff classifies Uden as a marine fougere, which means it smells of lavender, oak moss, and the sea. As far as your presentation goes, this is probably the best presentation of any fragrance that that I've come across, I would say. You have this beautiful box, and with some writing on the back, and everything's on the bottom, is batch codes and stuff like that. It comes in this beautiful silk or satin bag, which has these beautiful strings on it. That's where the fragrance sits inside of the box, and then the actual bottle is something to behold in my mind. It is beautiful glass. There's a gold plate actually glued on to the front. There's an X on the back of the bottle. It's a very heavy cap that slides nicely into place without being too noisy. You have Xerjoff across the top of the cap right there, and then you actually have an X inside the cap as well, an X on the atomizer, and it's a decent atomizer. As Stephen would say, you know, not necessarily the best atomizer of all time, but it gets the job done. I think the Xerjoff presentation is really a second to none. I think the type of fragrances that have these sorts of presentation, you're talking about stuff like by Killian and Xerjoff. And as I said, the bottle is just beautiful too. Beautiful material. It's nice and heavy cardboard. You've got the house name there. And a beautiful graphic of someone seeing the meteorite on the back, and I believe that's what's on here too, the gentleman seeing the meteorite, and you have your fragrance name right there, Uden. So bravo, bravo, bravo on the scent, on the presentation. It just works so well. Now, notes on this fragrance are grapefruit, lemon, rum absolute, rose, sandalwood, gaiac wood, vanilla, coffee absolute, and musk. And I think if you want to simplify this fragrance, the easiest way to do that is to say what I've read online many times, that this is a niche version of Armani's Code, or a niche scent for people who don't like niche scents. And I see why people say that, and I sort of agree. I certainly see the comparison to Code, but that's making it too simple. If you smell Code in this side by side, the differences are just huge. The opening of this fragrance is a green-like citrus. It's crisp and marine-like. And when Xerjoff does citrus, they do it expertly, and there's no difference here. They're known for the citrus that's in 1861 and Cobe and Neo, and when you don't have the bergamot and neroli that's in those fragrances, you do have lemon and grapefruit, and it's that same high quality of citrus that those other Xerjoff fragrances have. But what makes this fragrance different from those is where this fragrance evolves to. It sort of becomes a beautiful gourmand, and I pick up notes of coffee and, to me, caramel and gaiac and rum, and it gets sweeter and more gourmand and more beautiful as it progresses. So that sea-like freshness is accentuated by the beautiful gourmand notes that lay just under the surface. What I like best about this fragrance and about Xerjoff in general is how natural everything smells. So that when you smell Code and then you smell Uden, you might think, wow, Code and Uden smell very similar. But then you realize how much better Uden smells. And here's the thing, Code is a good fragrance. Code is very well done. It was a signature of mine for a while, 6 or 7 years ago. But once you smell Uden, it makes Code sort of hard to wear, again, honestly. I also appreciate the versatility of Uden. It is a 4-season scent. It works in the warm months because of the sea-like freshness and citrus at the top. And in the colder months, the rum and vanilla and caramel are warming and gourmand. Very versatile scent. The only thing that would keep me from making this a work or casual scent is the high price tag of Uden. This is a high-end scent for me, something to be worn on nice occasions, probably be a special occasion scent for me in the spring and early summer. Do I think a woman could pull this off? Sure, but I'd say there are better choices in the Xerjoff catalog for a female. Is this a scent who everyone is interested in fragrances should own? No. If you're a casual fragrance wearer, you might want to stay away from Xerjoff. I think these are fragrances for collectors or more advanced noses. See, when you smell 1,000 mediocre designer fragrances that are either using bad synthetics or even bad natural ingredients, the quality of a Xerjoff fragrance hits you in the face immediately. The notes last for quite a long time, and the stages, top, middle, and bottom, all progress very naturally. Projection on this fragrance isn't incredible. It's just not. This isn't something like More Than Words or Mon Luc or Alcat. This is more subtle. It's not a skin scent, but it's not a skin leaper. It's not going to create a big scent bubble. It's not going to give you a trail of sillage. It will last, though. I typically get about 6 good hours and then like 2 or 3 skin scent hours. I don't think this is the best offering from the house. I think it was the right place to start for me. I plan on owning many more from this house. You know, just from the Shooting Stars line, as I said, I want Neo, Kobe, Djala, Ibitera. You know, Creed does wonderful hot weather scents, but I feel Xerjoff has taken that title away, in my opinion, from Creed. They, to me, are now the premier men's hot weather fragrance house. So how do I rate this? This is a clear 8 out of 10 for me. It loses 2 points, 1 because of the limited projection, and 2 because it's not completely unique. Price doesn't matter to me, so I think that most Xerjoff fragrances are worth the money. This one's no different. Really well done. The presentation at this price point, as I said, maybe second only to By Kilian. And I can't wait to add more Xerjoff to my collection. I just want to make a quick note about the price. There's a restaurant called Shopson's in Manhattan, a great restaurant. You should check it out if you're ever in the city. There's a documentary about that restaurant called I Like Killing Flies on Netflix. And the owner talks about how he makes his plates relatively expensive. $25, $26 per dish. And he says he does that because he never wants to think about whether he can use macadamia nuts or he has to use peanuts, or whether he can use imported maple syrup or Aunt Jemima, or real hatch green chilies or just peppers from the bodega. He doesn't ever want to think of that. So once you pay that premium for your meal there, you know you're going to get good stuff. And I think that sort of applies to Xerjoff. The fragrances aren't cheap, but they're not compromising by ever using cheap ingredients in their fragrances. That entry price is steep, but you're always going to get good quality in return, and you never have to worry about what they're using to make these fragrances smell so good. This one is the truth. It's legit, and you can tell that just by how natural it is. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Maximilian Must Know and my review of Uden by Xerjoff. We will be back next week with 2 episodes, one midweek and an end-of-week review. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Thank Sergio at Xerjoff for being such a great guy who I've been able to talk to back and forth on Facebook, and hopefully I will talk to you all guys again soon. My name is Maximilian.
Open wide, hands in the sky. DJ drop the beat, got me feeling